Man, and we're back. A little impromptu. We didn't expect this to happen just like this, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, it's a busy schedule for us, so we're going to go ahead and knock it out. This is Black Friday. Name's Christian. We got Omar and Chris. Special guest today, Todd the Intern. Todd, thanks for being on, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Todd, why don't you give a little background on yourself here for people that don't know you?
Well, my name is Todd. I'm originally from Southern California. I'm going to be a senior at Grand Canyon University. I'm back in Southern California for the summer, and go Lopes, and gas prices here suck ass.
Man, this is a family show. You already done. We're 20 seconds into this. Come on. We're 20 seconds in.
Can we start over?
Man, we're going to cut and start this over again. Okay. Todd, hey, for those who don't know you, no, I'm kidding. All right.
Don't feel bad, Todd. I was the first one that let it slip.
Man, be ruining the show over here.
You know, tensions be high this week. A lot has happened. You know, we gotta, sometimes things slip. It's all right.
Gas is $4.50 here.
Yeah.
$4.50 in California. Miami, we're seeing upwards of $3 just about all around. If you guys haven't seen in the recent news, apparently our pipeline was hacked, allegedly by Russian hackers, what they're claiming. And North Carolina is severely messed up due to this, and a lot of states along the East Coast. Thankfully, Florida, especially here in South Florida, we don't go along the pipeline. We get ours through barges and ships, and we just get it taken into port just about every day. So we have no issues here. People stop panic buying gas. If you're panic buying gas right now, just take it easy, and life will go okay. Also, PSA: don't fill up your gas in plastic bags or Ziploc bags. Don't do that. It's not a good idea.
Nah, you got to go the hefty route. Get a hefty bag, fill it up, and then put it in your trunk. That's the way to go. Come on, Ziploc. That's cheap stuff.
You would say that, Chris.
But that's seriously happening, right?
Yeah, no, I saw the picture.
Yeah, okay.
The lady with the grocery bags. I don't know. Yeah, the panic buying is
tarp. Line your trunk with it, and then just fill up your trunk with gas.
And just fill the whole car with gas.
I did that. I saw Tupperware, Ziploc bags. I mean, not a gas can, but anything but, just about anything they could think to.
The people that would do that are the type that would probably be smoking on the way home with like the Tupperware of gasoline in their car.
I just hope they were wearing a mask when we were doing this. I just really hope they were wearing a mask.
Yeah. Stay safe, guys, Get vaccinated.
Well, most people are just preparing for where they're about to go. They're about to blow themselves up and go to hell.
Yeah, what?
The gasoline draw zone.
Wait, what? Man, where's this? How bad?
We already know most people are going.
Man,
let's be truthful.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
I'm the mean one this week. I'm mean.
Welcome Sunday.
Yeah. So today's topic of discussion is the future of the movement and where we're going. It's very interesting to see with the announcement of Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, whatever you want to call Jenner, running for governor of California here, and liberals don't like Caitlyn Jenner. Lefties, not at all, especially those in the LGBTQ AAIP plus community, et cetera, don't support Caitlyn Jenner. But surprisingly, a lot of conservatives are saying it's what we have to do. It's the move, and Caitlyn Jenner's going to win, and conservatives, they're going to back it because that's the best option. What do y'all think? Because I very much disagree. I very much disagree for multiple reasons.
Yeah, I'm a little. I was at first more in the middle. Like I got both sides. I'm not a hardline conservative, social conservative. So I'm not really against people being transgender. I'm against a lot of the forcing of people to use pronouns and putting it into school systems and indoctrination. I'm against that. But if you want to do what you want as an adult and you want to do that with your body and call yourself a girl, go for it. That's not my business. But with this fact, I just after looking at it and seeing people's arguments, there is no gain to be had with Caitlyn Jenner running for governor. You will lose, and California is not worth that, and we will lose nationally. And we'll probably talk about that in a minute. But as somebody who is more in the middle, I just don't see any pros in risking it all for a terrible state. So,
Todd, what are you thinking here? Todd, we can't hear you, buddy.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Jenner for governor. That's a funny one, honestly. Honestly, don't know how much of support from either side Jenner's getting. The polls say that she's about even with John Cox, but I don't know how much of that is skewed and how much of that is not. But people are thinking, well, even running as a Republican because she's transgender, she's going to get some of the left liberal vote. But no, they're just pulling the card that, well, she's a murderer because she killed somebody in a car crash. And I don't think this is the move for California. I don't care how good her policies are going to be. It's not the move.
It's, lived there my whole life. Up until these last 2 years. And the last 2 years have been pretty dang good, I must say. But, man, my goodness. Omar.
Well, be honest, as one of the more, because I know we're adding on someone new later on, as one of the more social conservatives and one of the more religious people on this podcast, I don't see, there's no legal barriers to Bruce Jenner. And I'm going to say Bruce because even though I'm not God, and thank God I'm not God, that's what God's going to call him on Judgment Day. So if there's no legal ramifications to Bruce running for governor, he has that right. He has that right to be called Caitlyn. I don't agree with it. I think it's a travesty, but he has that right. But is it right for the conservative movement? I don't think so. I think we're going to have to separate what is conservative, what is actual libertarian. And this is basically if he wanted to run in the Libertarian Party, which needs to figure some things out, I will say that. Sorry, libertarians, you do.
Yeah, that's true.
See, there you go. Coming from a libertarian himself. But if she would have ran on the libertarian ticket, libertarians are more socially moderate to liberal. I can stomach that because you're not ruining the more conservative party. But hey, it's California. They do what they want. There's a reason why there's a whole bunch of wildfires and mudslides and all kind of crazy mess happening in California. There's a reason why. That's all I'm going to say.
No, I just, I agree on that front. Religiously, conservatively, politically, everything, like locked in here. 2 years ago, we were all in agreement, in the movement that transgenderism was a mental illness. We were all in agreement. Now we acknowledge that it's still a mental illness and say, yeah, go ahead and run for governor and I'll vote for you. So we're going to normalize mental illness within the Republican Party. How is this any different than what the Dems were doing 5 years ago? How are we any different than them 5 years ago? Are we just slowly just turning into them, just a little delayed? I mean, that's not good. The next question is, what makes Jenner conservative? What makes Jenner a conservative? What is it? Well, what actually is it? Because Jenner isn't pro-life, not by any means. People think Jenner's a staunch Trump supporter. No, officially got all mad because Trump said he didn't support transgender bathrooms. Jenner said that was it. So you're going to support a candidate for governor that wants transgender bathrooms, so it's men to be able to go in the bathroom with women and children. Yeah, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that's a big no for me. People that believe that this election was stolen, Jenner doesn't believe so. Oh, snap. Okay, you're still going back for governor. People that think illegal immigration is a big, big issue, especially in the state of California, all the border states. Caitlyn Jenner says she favors a pathway to citizenship for California, illegal immigrants. Hey, give them a pathway to citizenship, let them go. While the state struggles and people are leaving in droves, just let more illegals in and take over. Okay, that's another great thing to support. What else are we looking at? The fatal car crash. Todd already brought that up. Somebody died. had to pay a settlement, almost $100 million. Jenner didn't vote for Trump in 2020. Yeah, and so it begs the question here: what do people see in this? It's not Gavin Newsom, okay? And is that good enough? Is that good enough to win my vote now? The whole "we aren't them" doesn't work. It's literally, it's done. It's played off. That stuff is trash. That's what gets rhinos elected that do things like Mitt Romney and co. That's what happens with "we aren't them." You guys don't want that. You don't want that at all. It's absolute garbage to me.
But Christian, wouldn't it be epic if there was a governor of California that was Republican?
Not Republican. I'm not saying it's not Republican. It's not. It's just not. And there's ramifications for this happening when you look at the larger scale. We can get into that too with what this looks like on a big scale, but this is
make you a gatekeeping bigot though, Christian.
Call me whatever you want. I don't care. It's the facts. It hurts. Truth hurts, but it's still the truth.
Hey Todd, I want to throw a question out there to you. You talked about wouldn't it be cool to have a Republican governor in California? What about Arnold Schwarzenegger? Okay, Schwarzenegger really wasn't a Republican. When you look at his voting record, he was not a conservative Republican at all. But people thought it was cool to have one, especially one that was a movie star like Ronald Reagan. So I think we need to really buckle down and qualify what is a Republican or what is a conservative, because there was a time way in yesteryear when Republicanism first really started. It was very liberal. Then it trended conservative before the 1960s. I want to make that clear. So I think we as a conservative movement need to define, okay, what party are we going to be in? What party represents our values? And if it's not the Republican Party, we need to create something new at this point.
A lot of people I've talked to are disassociating from the Republican Party until they act right in their eyes. I said, I'm not putting, I'll go independent. I'll do whatever I need to do. I'm still very much conservative, but that party has let me down time and time again. I'm done until they fix it. I know a lot of people that are thinking that way. They've had enough. I'm getting sick of it playing myself too. But Arnold Schwarzenegger was no Republican, very, very lukewarm, is moderate trash at best. And here's the thing too. People say, well, policy. Okay, we just went through policy. Not great policy for Jenner already as it is. Mm-hmm. Being pro-choice. Low tax. Like you can't get any of that done with an all-blue legislature, attorney general, the secretary of state, all of that. You can't get any of that done. So what is it? What is it really accomplishing here? The fact that you want to sacrifice the whole party for years to come for a publicity stunt. I mean, in all honesty, it's what it's starting to look like to me. This is a joke. I really don't think this is going to get off the ground. I think it's going to die very soon, as it really deserves to. But yeah, it's absolute garbage. I mean, here's the thing. This is where Jenner's already got on Hannity. Millions of people got to see that. How many kids do you think saw that?
How many kids watch Hannity? Well,
no, their parents turn it on at night, and the kids are there. Hey, that's how I got started in getting involved. My parents had stuff on, and I started watching, whether it was Bill O'Reilly or whatever. I was looking at the TV, looking at what was going on. How many kids saw that? How many kids asked Mommy, what's that?
You were lucky.
Probably fair amount.
Yeah.
Christian, you were lucky. You were lucky because my parents watched Rachel Maddow and Chris Matthews. Oh, I can't stand Chris Matthews. You can't get a word in with him. So you were lucky to watch Hannity and Bill O'Reilly now.
I watched a lot of Bill O'Reilly as a kid growing up. Questioned a lot of stuff, and not like I just really paid attention, but it was on in the background. I know who it was, and I knew what was going on. But more kids supposed to know what's going on now. Like innocent young children, who's that? That's Caitlyn. But yeah, that's a woman. Wait, no, it's not. It's a man. But he believes that he's a like. How are you going to explain that to a kid? And as the conservatives and the Republicans, how in the party and the movement do we want to justify that and explain that and normalize that on a national scale? Because by so endorsing this and voting for it and possibly trying to get Jenner into office, that's going to be normalized and promoted through the party. You can't say that it's not. I don't know how you can say that it's not.
No, I completely agree. I mean, I'm not, like I said, a social conservative. So personally, I'm not really against all of that. I'm not against like a transgender wants to be on TV. Like, okay, well, Hannity brought her on, and that's how it happened. But I will say the party that is supposed to be socially conservative, if you run a transgender person and you are against transgenderism, you are a blatant hypocrite, and you will not bring any middle of the line voters with that move. You'll actually push your hardline voters out, and you won't attract any new voters. Especially, I mean, you need the Hispanic vote in California to win, and the Hispanics are not going to come out for a transgender. Maybe a better idea would be run a Hispanic. That might be a better idea than instead of running old white transgender person who's rich and killed a person. That honestly, you're not going the right route there. No one is thinking on this. And every conservative I see that's like, this is the future of the party. It's like, I don't identify as a Republican, but it's like, well, that's why the GOP sucks, because people like that have like some of the loudest voices, the ones who are saying this is the future of the party.
It's legit simping at some point. It gets into simping. Like if we do this and we act like we're so progressive, we're so this or that, like we're going to win those votes over by introducing that sort of diversity into the. No, you're not. They still hate your guts no matter what. So stop trying to simp to those people, pushing your hardline voters away, like Chris said, pushing your staunch voters in. Those minorities that you're trying to get in those demographics, they don't play that. They don't play that stuff. So
transgenderism isn't even that popular in minority communities. Like people don't understand that transgenderism is honestly, white people are pretty cool with it. Other races and things like that, other diverse areas, not so much, because a shocker, a lot of minorities are actually pretty conservative, and they're not for transgenderism. It's odd to them, and that's just the truth.
Guys, now that you brought that up, do you think, I got a question for you. Do you think Dwayne Wade got paid to let his kid switch over to being a girl?
No, there's some big influence there. I don't know about being paid, but I think there's a lot of influence from Hollywood and just everybody around. And I think his wife too.
I mean, you got to think about it. Everyone he hangs out with it's the Hollywood elite leftist bubble. Everybody's so extremely progressive. If all you hung out were progressive people, you're like, oh, these are actually pretty good people, and then they start telling you about how you should let your 8-year-old transition, you'd be like, maybe. After years of just continuously and I mean, if you're not extremely political to begin with, I could see the transition happening. He probably wasn't a conservative going into basketball, so there was no reason to switch, to hold on to any stances. It's just he was around the people who believed it. I don't think he was paid. It's just it's the environment.
Yeah, also in that environment, knowing that if you stand up and say, no, I'm not going to let my 8-year-old be a transgender, knowing that literally every single person in your circle is going to shun you, that's the social pressure there. It's not the positives, it's fearing the negatives from those people.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole, you speak out, like something bad happens, like the Me Too movement. Unfortunately, there were a lot of innocent people that were, really taken advantage of, and they didn't speak out because their career would be over. I don't know if that's the case with Dwayne Wade, but I'm sure there'd probably be repercussions if he said no or did whatever, or was actually, was a man, would actually stand up and just be a man. That there's probably some sort of repercussion for him there if he didn't go along with it, whether it's his relationship with his wife or the endorsement deals or something that he might have where something goes south. But yeah, it's, that stuff sometimes is tethered together. If you don't do exactly how people want you to do and you don't jump when they tell you to, then you're canceled. So it's mind-boggling at pre-PBS that they're going to pump with hormones and cut off genitalia. Sickening.
Christian, I got another question for you. Going back specifically to the governor's race, if a gay or lesbian Republican candidate was up there, whether they're famous or not, would you be? I don't think you probably would vote for him, but could you stomach that a little bit more than Caitlyn Jenner or Bruce?
Well, the thing here And my issue here with Jenner, especially as a Christian and living that, is Jenner's existence right now is literally, it's blasphemy. And I say this because if we believe, like as Christians, that we're created in God's image, and God created you as a man, and then you try to do everything you could to become a woman, that means you believe that God was wrong in mistakes. He made a mistake when he made you. No. That's not how this goes. And I can't stomach that at all. I'm like, no, that's total blasphemy. You're living your life, not as you were created to be. You're not living your purpose. No, absolutely not. And that's why I say no to that. As far as somebody being gay in that sense and running for office there, I don't live in California anymore, so I don't necessarily have to deal with that right now at the moment. It is seemingly becoming more mainstreamed in the movement. It's tough, honestly. It's a tough question, but I'm gonna say no and get canceled immediately. But that's my final answer. Lock it in. But
so this is the last episode of Black Friday, guys.
And this is where I get canceled. This is where
Christian, please face the wall.
We all got canceled.
That's it.
But
it's there is a difference. So there's a difference between, and here's the thing: is the act of homosexuality. So the sin is in the action there. Okay, that's where. But going ahead and mutilating yourself and that's a different ball game there. That's a different ball game there. Okay, that's something else. People that lifestyle, there is still time to turn around and even for some people that do transition, there is a way to come back. It's a lot of surgery and a lot of just all around mental issues, but it's rare that people actually go ahead and revert back to who they were, and it's just so it's
I'll say this, as a religious conservative myself, again, there are no barriers if legally or, as an American citizen, if you're going to be gay, I all I can do is give you the word of the Lord and go from there. Some plant, some water, God provides the increase. We always said that in the churches I was brought up in. But legally, I mean, if you're gay and you want to running as a Republican, you better be conservative everywhere else. You better be anti-abortion. You better be economically conservative. You better want our troops coming back home and not going into useless wars. You better be for legal immigration. That's the only way I would be able to stomach it. And that's not me overlooking the situation, but that's something I can't necessarily change. They have to change that themselves.
So I guess the real question is, what are you willing to compromise and what won't you compromise?
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's going to come down to when at the big picture here is what will you compromise with, what won't you compromise?
I just want to throw my input in there since you guys are more religious and conservative than
I'm here to get canceled, so you go for it, man. You go ahead.
I'm like, I gotta save myself so they know that I don't want to be canceled. Personally, if somebody runs as a homosexual or a lesbian, or I guess the same thing, I have no issue with that. As long as your politics are aligned with mine and your stances are aligned with mine, I don't really care what you do in your bedroom. That's not up to me. And that's, you're an adult, do what you want to do. As long as it's between another consenting adult, I'm cool with it. Just like, with the transgender thing, I probably would, I would support a transgender for office, but not as a Republican. You can't win the Republican Party as a transgender. If I was voting third party and there was an outstanding, not Caitlyn Jenner, but an outstanding candidate who is transgender in like the Libertarian Party or the independent, or running as an independent, perhaps I would support that person for office. Maybe not governor, maybe not president, maybe Congress, maybe state rep, something like that. And I would support that person if their stance is aligned with mine, but they'd have to be a pretty dang good candidate to get by as a transgender. So honestly, for me, I vote more on politics than I guess personal things. But if they're, it does influence it as well. I mean, if they are personal, like Barack Obama doing stuff in college, smoking weed, doing coke. I mean, like, I can see why people wouldn't vote for him, because they're like, those personal choices impact who you are. And I think it's a valid reason not to vote somebody. And I respect both of their opinions to not vote for somebody who is transgender. Caitlyn Jenner, I think I agree in this case, but personally, I just want to throw my own opinion out there. So it is known. So, CNN doesn't cancel me, please.
All right, Todd, you're on the cancel wagon now. Come on.
Yeah, well, it's a matter of how much are you going to balance the personality of some person versus their policy. And in terms of Caitlyn Jenner, both kind of suck. The policy isn't there. It's not conservative. It's not even moderately Republican. And then obviously the personality there, being a transgender, that's one strike again. Being someone who's not going to support certain things and someone who's actually actively killed a person, that's pretty bad too. But if somebody was running for governor of California who happened to be transgender, homosexual, but they were really solid on policy, I'm more of somebody who is going to vote along policy-wise than personality-wise. I mean, think about Donald Trump. Personality-wise, he was an asshole. Pardon my language. But
that's two, man. That's two.
Sorry about that, children watching.
Best president we've had in recent history. I mean, giving Barack Obama a Nobel Peace Prize for bombing the Middle East, and then Donald Trump goes into North Korea alone, signs major peace deals in the Middle East, and now we have Joe Biden, and we have unrest in the Middle East within 100 days with Trump leaving office. It's crazy. It's policy versus personality, and policy always wins in my book.
100% agree with that.
Policy is great if people actually have policy to get behind and everything. But there is a part sometimes where some people make their identity into their policy, and then I have an issue with that. And that's where issue is for certain things.
And I think Donald Trump, it could be an example of that as well. That's why a lot of Republicans couldn't get behind Donald Trump, because his personality became a lot with his politics. I mean, his face was the face of the Republican movement for a while there. And I mean, his massive rallies and all the people who like idolized him, that pushed away a lot of people who were like, his personality is awful. And it's tied in with his
policy was very good. That's the thing, though. The personality, but the policy was good, though. It was good policy. The guy was like talking mad smack, like, you come over this line, we'll blow you up. But hey, there was peace in the Middle East. I'll tell you what, there was.
And I'm not saying his policy was bad in any way. I enjoyed his policy, and I think he had good policy. But I am saying that I think that that Trump is a good example of somebody whose personality and policy or politics were very intertwined, and it pushed a lot of conservatives away. I mean, you have a lot of, I think it was mainly white conservatives that he lost in 2020. And I mean, he gained in minority. So, white people looked at Trump and was like, these mean tweets are kind of going a little too far. And there's a lot of suburban moms. So, if you know a suburban mom, ask what happened in these 4 years, because it's probably his personality that drove them away, not the booming economy or anything like that.
I think things are going great until June of last year. And then we have Ahmaud Arbery, we have George Floyd, we have just all that other nonsense and the protests and everything, COVID shutting down, all happened all at the same time. And before that, everything was booming beyond belief. We're looking for the greatest numbers we've ever seen. We're at the greatest numbers we'd ever seen. And then that all just kind of came crashing down. And I think in that span from June and so on, that's really changed a lot of the suburban vote, in my opinion. I think there were a lot of people that said poor black people and then went and voted blue. I really do believe that in my heart, that there were some people who were just like, oh man, I got a BLM. No, F him. Like, there were a lot of people I saw just never got involved before, and they were just putting up black squares. They were doing all that stuff. And I knew right away, I'm like, they're not going to vote like red in this election at all. So I think that definitely had a big factor, for sure. I think when it all came crashing down there, I think that was the tipping point.
Honestly, I'll say this. I think if Trump would not have kept back some information about COVID, because in actuality he did. He did know it was going to be worse than what he advertised. And I know why he did it. He did it because he did not want people to panic. But I think if you would have been honest about it, I think you can overlook COVID as a whole. I think you can even overlook George Floyd to some degree. They just felt like a lot of people felt like they were lied to at that point. And that's me. That's me being analytical, Christian.
The media and everything wasn't going to let anything go no matter what, and that's the media spun and blew things up out of proportion no matter what. If he had told the truth, it would have been how crazy and incompetent he was right there. He lied about it. They said, "Oh, he's a liar." This and that. No matter what it was, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't think he was getting out of there unscathed no matter what, and that's the whole thing there. I don't think.
I would have been damned if I do. I'm just saying.
Now we're saying
I didn't know what was going on.
It's a family show.
Damned is in the Bible.
Nah, my kids ain't read the Bible.
Wait a minute. To be fair, so is ass. I'm just saying.
But it depends on how you use it, though.
All right. Well, now this is going to be our rated R episode, guys. You guys are going to keep going with it.
I think one of the biggest things with losing a lot of the white vote is because of COVID and the death counter on mainstream media, and then the civil rights stuff we had last year. A lot of the movement on the left became, you are a bad person if you support or even vote for Donald Trump. And that came a little bit organically and a little bit pushed by the media. So a lot of apolitical people who were going to go out and vote thought, well, if I vote for Donald Trump, I'm a bad person because of all these bad things I've heard about, and I don't want to be a bad person. I want to be a nice person. So I think that's one of the biggest things that became synonymous, that if you vote for this one candidate, you are a bad person just because you voted for this person. I think that's one of the biggest things.
It's crazy how much they literally. I mean, you saw them marching through the streets and like literally holding up restaurants and making people put the fist up and everything. And if they didn't, they were in their face and throwing their food. That stuff is ridiculous.
It worked. It worked.
It's nuts.
Listen,
nuts.
If that would have happened to me, I would have had fists up. I would have had something in a bag, ready and waiting, because people allowed those folks to disturb their peace. Like, I'm sitting here trying to eat a meal, and then you're just coming into my space and telling me to do this and do that. I feel for the apolitical people, because they don't like politics. There's a reason why they don't like politics. It's crazy. It's a mess. But at the same time, you've got to stand up for yourself. I don't. While I feel sympathy for them on that part, if you didn't stand up for yourself during all of that drama and craziness, I don't know what to tell you.
It's dangerous when people vote for personality over effectiveness. Yeah, and interesting enough, Joe Biden has neither of those things. So, yeah.
I mean, you can talk about how people voted for Joe Biden because they were voting against Donald Trump's personality.
Oh, it was a hate vote. It was a hate vote.
Exactly what happened. They were still voting for personality. It was just not Joe Biden's. It was against Donald Trump. So, do with that information as you will. People, Donald Trump's personality, I think, was led to kind of the downfall. But the media was the biggest factor in that. The fact that everything he did was spun to be evil and racist and bigoted and homophobic, Islamophobic, yada yada yada. It's just he was going to lose anyway.
Also, another thing that I noticed, and I think this had a decent play too, is the people that were in his corner, in his ears, telling him things to do or policy, or just overall just what's going on. I think that he fired a lot of people. He fired a lot of people, especially people that were supposed to be in his inner circle, people that were gone in the White House. There were a lot of leakers, a lot of people that didn't like him that he kept around him. And I think that's something that, if that was taken care of too, I think that might have helped him in the long run. Certain things, whether it was the idea to ban flavored vape, whoever proposed that one to him, I'm like, that was not fantastic. Just didn't think it was necessary whatsoever. It just seemed like total nonsense. So whoever was in his ear giving him that info, and at the end of it all too, giving him certain info. Wish RC was here to talk about it, but in regards to the black conservative people that were in his corner, they were fairly woke, and I think that kind of screwed him over too. And I think that had a play on it.
Yeah, going back to who he had in his inner circle and things of that nature. I think some people were paid. I'm always thinking someone's getting paid. Money makes the world go around. We can all agree on that. Money does make the world go around. Besides the Lord Himself. But anyway, uh, people were paid. I think people were paid off. Omarosa had no reason to really just go off the rail about Trump until she got fired. So I think somebody paid her
Well,
for
yeah,
that
of course
because
she made money. Dude, they make money and then they write a book. They write a book
yeah,
and make money. That's what everybody does. Scaramucci, Anthony Scaramucci, he's leading a charge on some whole like anti thing to keep Trump away from the Republican Party forever. Anthony Scaramucci is not a Republican. The dude's a wuss. He's a softie, and I think he might be shorter than me, if that's even believable, possible. But he's a tiny old dude. Like what? I'm not taking any pointers from this guy. Lasted 2 weeks or less. It's like get out of here. These people, and they all just come out bitter and they want to write a book and make tons of money.
Speaking of books, do you think Liz Cheney is going to write a book now?
Oh yeah,
That's pretty funny. Watch all the Dems buy it.
yeah.
Hey, imagine the Dems buying a Cheney book.
Wait, okay. So now, do you think they're buying John Boehner's book?
I don't know, honestly. Like, I don't follow that space of Twitter or online presence to see if people are actually buying it. I haven't checked the numbers, but that guy he's trash. But maybe they do. I don't know. Actually, honestly, I don't think they do. The same reason, like always, you simp to those people thinking that they're going to get all this credo and like and all these claps and pats on your back. Those people still don't like you. They still don't like you. I mean, oh wow, Chuck Schumer, oh Liz Cheney. It's a shame what the Republicans did. Like that's about all you're going to get out of them. There's nothing else. Like they're going to put her as a martyr just because she stood up to Trump. I'm like, but that's it. Unless he goes to the Lincoln Project, rest in peace.
Right.
But, it's just nonsense.
It's the same thing with McCain. I used to watch The View a good bit, and they put Meghan McCain on there because she's the conservative that hates Trump, that does not like Trump at all.
She said she was a liberal Republican, I think, last time. I believe she said that. Did she say
liberal Republican? You know what? It's weird that a liberal Republican liked the words of Tim Scott because I watched the episode right after the joint session of Congress. And she was the only one that hated Biden's speech, and everyone else praised Biden's speech. But here's my thing about bringing that up. Everyone on that show praises McCain. But I think at their inner core, except probably Whoopi Goldberg, because Whoopi is the oldest one on the show. Every one of them does not like McCain. Joy Behar I used to watch old episodes of this show. Joy Behar hated the man, but he was against Trump. Now she loves him. These people are crazy.
No,
if they really think that they're actually getting love because they hate Trump.
Because they see Liz Cheney as somebody that's outside of their echo chamber, and they can point at her and say, "You see, there's people on the right that don't like Trump. You see, we're not just an echo chamber. There's somebody that doesn't like Trump on their side," and they just latch onto that.
Look, we found a rich white girl who's a Republican and doesn't like Donald Trump. This is the whole Republican Party. The masses come on our side, guys. We'll all sing "Kumbaya" and "Never Trump," and that's exactly what they want to do. They just want to shine a light on the one person who, and I'm not saying everybody doesn't. She's like just the one. There's others, but they try and shine a light on it and magnify it and say like, oh look, this could be the possibility. We just have to hang on or keep doing episodes of The View. Like who other than Omar? Sorry, Omar watches The View. Like it's The View. Come on,
a lot of crazy people.
Nobody watches.
And I'm not saying I'm crazy. I'm just saying I like to watch the drama. No, at one time while working for Turning Point, I got to meet Judge Janine Perot, and me and her had like a 2-minute conversation about her appearance on The View. She said they're crazy for real. She really believes Whoopi Goldberg is like off the rails because of how they treated her. I watched the entire episode. She went off when Perot said, "You have Trump derangement syndrome." You literally have some type of thing in your mind that when someone even gives Trump basic credit over something good that he did, you just go crazy off of it. And there are people like that in the world. It is crazy.
Female 2 Chainz does not like Donald Trump. Let's be honest. She's crazy. And she looks like 2 Chainz. Let's be honest. Look very similar.
Yeah, if I say what I think, I'm going to get banned, so I'm not going to say anything.
Hey, it's the rated R episode. We can say whatever we want.
It's the rated R episode.
Something I saw on Twitter today is that some of these people are so crazy. They've literally spent almost a year and a half cooped up in their house, only leaving to get groceries, not seeing any person, any of their friends. They're fully vaccinated, double vaxxed. Their friends are double vaxxed. And the CDC comes out and says, you can go outside if you're fully vaccinated without a mask. And these people are saying, no, I'm still going to wear a mask just because I don't want people to think I'm a Republican. You have spent over a year hiding in your house, not seeing any person, and now you're still refusing to do that, even though the science says it's safe, the CDC says it's safe, but just because you want to send a message to whoever out there that's paying attention when nobody's even paying attention to that, just because you don't want people to think you're a Republican, you're going to continue to live your life like that. It's a mental problem that some of these people have, that Donald Trump has affected them that much that, well, I can't even be thought of as a smidgen of a supporter of this person. So if I'm seen out in public without wearing a mask, people might think I voted for Trump. So I'm going to always wear a mask forever until I die. It's crazy.
It's Joy Behar. Joy Behar said that on national TV. She said, I'm still going to wear a mask because it keeps away the germs. Just keeps away the germs. Well, you know what, Joy? Don't you know that you need some bacteria to live off of? That's proven science. People sound crazy nowadays because of Trump, and this is the only way that they feel like they can really combat Trump, because you can't really get them with mean tweets. People say mean things all the time, even in politics. Well, especially in politics, things like that. You can't really get them on policy, but you can get them on COVID, because guess what? He was president during COVID. So it's his fault.
No, everybody just looks for somebody to blame. Nobody ever looks for a solution. It's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get back to the future of the movement here, if we can. The ramifications here, if we actually normalize the idea, like Tommy Lahren has on her Instagram, of Caitlyn for governor and all these things, is that in the weirdest world ever, where Caitlyn Jenner would actually win the California governor election, there's no doubt in my mind that Jenner would be speaking at the Republican National Convention in 2024. Normalized on a main stage. Normalizing mental illness on a main stage is not a conservative value. It's not a Republican value. And it's probably not something we want our younger kids to see and just totally accept. Like, that's totally, fine and normal, and go, Google. Like, that's something for kids to discover and stuff on their own, like when they're of age. We do have a job. People are like, oh, there's that. Like, we do have a job in society to protect the vulnerable, the individuals, especially the kids, the children, the people that have pure minds. And I think this definitely violates all of that. And that's why a big reason why I can't get behind it. And I think that we're on a pathway to destruction. We're going to lose our base, our staunch base. We're not going to go with that nonsense. It makes us no different than the Dems. There's nothing to be conserved here. It's the whole, what are you conserve? It's a real question. What are you conserving with it? It's a big question here. And it's just people, slippery slope fallacy. It's the fallacy. This is a real thing. The slippery slope is real. It is real here. You can see it on this. You can see it on that. There's no limit to what's coming next. How much longer until the Republican Party and conservatives aren't pro-life anymore? That'll be the day, right? Say it right now, like that'll never happen, but will it? No. Don't know.
That's why I can't get behind Tommy Lahren.
Well, she's not even conservative. She's more libertarian than anything, but I just wish she would kind of just make that very clear.
Yeah, it's something I hate.
Wow.
You know, as somebody who's a libertarian, I very clearly state what I am. I always say I am not a Republican. I don't want people to think I'm a Republican. I vote Republican because I think fiscal issues are more important than, you know, transgender bathrooms and stuff like the left is always talking about. I'd rather have like a balanced budget and have a strong military and a strong country. I'd rather have that. So I vote Republican. But I make it very clear. I hate Republicans that, you know, want to claim they're Republicans. And then when you talk to them, they're like, well, you know, I'm not actually pro-life. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm very socially liberal. And it's like, well, you're just a libertarian. Say that. That's fine. You can say that. Some conservatives will say that they don't like libertarians. That's fine. You know, I don't mind it. It's always good to have some discourse between the two. But it's like, just be honest with what you are. Don't claim you are a Republican when you're actually not a Republican.
Well, Republicans and conservatives have the money. The libertarians, I don't know what they have necessarily, but we
have the good ideas.
It's a base to suck up to make money. I'm not gonna lie, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
For one, y'all need to find a clear leader, Chris. Like, seriously, a real party chairman and a real party structure. I don't care if you structure it like the Dems, and I'm talking about real actual structure and not beliefs.
Yeah.
But
one of these,
I don't care how you structure it, but you need some type of structure, and then you need to define what is actually a libertarian, because libertarians right now are taking everyone.
They cannot do that.
Well, that's
Gary Johnson needs to step up.
God, please
no, not a level, not that level. Fool.
One of these days we'll have maybe we'll have a future of the libertarian movement. I'll lead that episode. Don't worry. And I mean, that's the thing with libertarianism. It's loosely defined. It's too loose of a movement for there to be a standard. Because if you bring all the libertarians together in one room, they will kill each other because they don't agree on everything. Like, they're very loose. And just talking to other libertarians are like, you're not a real libertarian. You don't believe in, you know, X, Y, and Z. It's like, that's how libertarians are. And I, as a libertarian, can say that's exactly how they are. And I can include myself in that. I talk to some people, I'm like, you're not a libertarian, get out of here. So it's very hard to bring them together. I don't think that there is ever going to be a libertarian party that can unite and put up a good libertarian. It's not going to happen. What I think people should do is, if I was in charge of the Libertarian Party, start running them locally and move your way up. Don't go for president. That's not what you need to do as a third party that can't win anything. Start locally. But maybe one day, maybe I'll be chair of the Libertarian Party one day. We'll see.
One day when that party will be defined for what it actually means. One day
I'll define it. I'll write that definition.
Libertarianism means.
You know what, Chris? If you run the Libertarian Party, I may run as a libertarian.
There you go. Appreciate that. Got my first.
I may do it.
One day the Libertarian Party might reach 5% of the vote.
One day.
Wait, don't you? If you reach 5% of the popular vote in the presidential election, don't you get federal funding?
Yeah, I think then you get to be on the debate stage and like.
Or yeah, if you're polling, then I forgot what number it is. You get to go on the debate stage.
It depends on the debate, like which debate, because some debates have different standards. Like
to reach a threshold, yeah. Or if you're the Dems, if you're in the primary, they move the goalpost to make sure certain people don't get on the debate stage.
You know, like Tulsi.
Andrew Yang.
They hosed them so bad to make sure they didn't get to speak. I was like, man, that's brutal.
Yeah, and it was pretty clear which ones were the status quo Democrats that were going to fold, like Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go with the big guy so we can get our positions in his cabinet. Where others were like, oh, I hate Joe Biden.
Chris, you know why they ran? They were running for vice president. Think about it. Buttigieg is now Secretary of what? Transportation. Kamala Harris is now vice president. They were running for a position. They weren't running to be the president of the United States.
Well, they were at first. They were at first, and then it was get in line, and hopefully you get something dished off to you at the end. It's a game of politics. You take this, I'll give you this and that. If you do this and that, help me out. Like, it's a game of politics. I mean, they eventually came in there, but once they got thrown under the rails, they were toast. I mean, they're like, oh, let's see what we can get in the cabinet. Let's get in the cabinet.
But the other two that got screwed, not the other two, the other person that got screwed over besides the two we just mentioned, Tulsi and what's his name, Andrew Yang, was Amy Klobuchar. She's still a U.S. senator. Bernie Sanders only wanted to be the chairman of the budget committee, and he got that. So, what did Amy Klobuchar get? She got nothing. I think they totally screwed over a lot of those candidates. It's
Tom
terrible.
Steyer and de Blasio too. They just let them spend all their money.
Yeah.
Tom Steyer was so funny. Every time I saw his advertisements, he was like, Donald Trump is literally Hitler. Give me money. Thank you. Every advertisement he ever had.
Mike Bloomberg didn't even ask you for your money. He just said, I'm just here.
He's I have money. Get out of here.
Yes.
I have money.
Man. Let's for final thoughts, I'd like for us to just what does the Republican Party have to do? I think we should all answer this question to end off this episode. What does the Republican Party have to do to come back and win? Not in 2022, but in 2024. What do they have to do between now and then? What do you guys believe the Republican Party has to do to come back and win in 2024?
Not bend over and take it every time somebody calls you a name. Stick with your people. You have teams. You play for a team. Act like you play for a team and actually try to win. Stay principled with what you're doing. Stick in the fight and do what your people elected you to do. If they elected you to go stick up and run a Trump-like, campaign and run like, you better go ahead and run as a House rep or a senator that way. That's what they elected you to do. And don't simp to big tech. Stop taking that stupid special interest money and stop fighting, fight the good fight. Stand up for what's actually right here, where there's a right and wrong, and reclaim the working class people of America. Mm-hmm. Reclaim the working class people of America. And I think that's a victory strategy. Some of those unions are up for grabs if Republicans could actually market themselves to them. I think some of those unions are actually up for grabs in regards to getting that vote. So I think those are key points for me, at least, to get a victory here in 2024. Todd's muted. You're muted, buddy.
You're still muted.
Oh, there we go. They need to stop running people who are so out of touch, who have been career politicians for 60 years, have not talked to a working class person in probably 40 years, only go there for photo ops, and those people are just actors anyway. They need to run people who are actually from the working class and who are there to actually push through policy and support other politicians and not just line their own pockets. Because the real thing right now with both parties is that they're out of touch. But the Democrat Party is a lot better at hiding that they're out of touch because they're the caring party. The Republican Party is the mean old people who are out of touch, and it's pretty much true. They are out of touch with what Americans want, and they just need to delete the whole thing and restart, in my opinion.
Tactical nuke, call it.
Tactical nuke, and then that's when the libertarians come out and we make our headway. I think with the Republican Party, I agree. We need, restructure leadership. The leadership is god awful. None of them have a spine. I'm sick of seeing old white people without a spine being at the head of the Republican Party. And I'm not saying let's have some diversity and throw in a token black guy and a Hispanic. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I'm just sick of seeing 70-year-old people who have been in politics for 45 years trying to act hard, and then when hard comes, they fold every time. Be strong. We need strong leadership in the party for anything to be done. I also think, honestly, Republicans need to check with the times. And really, I think there are some conservatives that bring out hatred from a lot of moderates. A lot of moderates are pretty socially liberal. I feel like, I'm not saying let's give up all of our social stances. No, I'm not saying give up. I'm pro-life. I'm not saying give up being pro-life. But if people want to smoke some weed, I feel like stop putting them in prison for it. I think that there are some stances there that we really need to analyze, because if we're trying to win elections, we need to go with what's popular. I mean, if you want to stick with your values every time, I can respect it. I really can, but it's not going to win elections every single time. If we're trying to win a national election, we need to understand that things like recreational marijuana, those are things that are actually pretty popular that people would like. So maybe going for things like that, or going for things that are a little bit more limited government rather than social conservatism. But then again, I'm a libertarian, so.
Yeah, not too many people run on that anymore, to be honest, but some of the local ones do. I've seen some really dumb weed arguments, really lame.
I think that's because right now most states are coming around, so you don't need to run it nationally anymore.
Yeah.
I think locally, yeah, it probably would do. Like saying, like, I don't even know what states it's still illegal in. Is legal in Michigan. So if it's, let's say it's illegal in Alabama, I'm sure probably is.
Yes.
Let's say somebody running for like governor of Alabama, like, I'm going to decriminalize marijuana, or I'm going to legalize recreational marijuana. You probably get a lot of vote. Like, people will vote for you just for that. And I'm not saying that people should vote just off of weed. I'm not saying they should, but people will. A lot of people are stupid, and that's an issue that they will vote on.
Yeah, definitely. Before Omar finishes this up, I got a few more things I just totally forgot. I realized. Stop shilling on Social Security and Medicare. That's a big one there. And actually, like, run on a platform of things that people care about, that your people actually care about. You should probably do that. Not focus on this crap just around you that's just nonsensical. Like, there's this younger generation that cares nothing about those things at all. So I mean, if you want to, how can we get the youth vote? What do we got to do to get the stop simping on Social Security and Medicare all day?
Mm-hmm.
That's the last bit there.
Right. That's a good one. Stop simping on something we're never going to get to see because because the formula was stupid to begin with. But what I think the Republican Party needs to do in order to win in 24, and this is not just for 24, this is for every single election going forward nationally, we're going to have to invest statewide. Look at what the Democrats have done to Virginia. Virginia was a solidly red state. Now it's purple-ish, purple bluish. There's some remnants of it being purple, but it's really going blue. I don't expect Young King to win in November. I don't, and that's because Democrats, and I'm gonna have to give them credit. This is one time you're gonna hear me giving Democrats credit. They went with a real 50-state plan, and it's proven results. Look at Georgia. Georgia is purple. Georgia is no longer red. I'm here saying it. Georgia is no longer red. Virginia is darn near blue, if it's not blue already. We need to reinvest, not just invest in new states. We need to do that in order to stay competitive. But we've got to keep looking at what we already have. If you're overlooking what you already have, thinking you have it in the bag, you're going to lose it eventually because they're trying to invest in those states. So we need to invest in all of our states, a real 50-state plan. And of course, like you guys said, we need to stop putting in whiny simps that don't want to see real change in the party, real good, positive change, like relaxing our stances on drugs and things of that nature. So we're gonna have to make some changes. I'm not worried about 22, like Chris said. First off, it's after census. We're redistricting. Republicans are going to win the House. More than likely, we'll win the Senate back. I'm certain on the House. I'm not certain on the Senate. But in 24 and beyond, we're going to have to reinvest. Pour money, pour resources, pour everything. Volunteers. I don't care. But if we don't, Georgia will turn fully blue. And heck, Mississippi, we almost lost the governor's race a couple of years ago because we're not investing. So I'm telling you, we have to invest.
All in, boys. You got to be all in. All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. This was another episode of Black Friday. We'll see you guys at some point next week. Appreciate you for tuning in.